Welcome to this movie recap today. I will be showing you a film that revolves around a meticulously planned bank heist in New York City titled Inside Man. Dalton Russell addresses the camera, revealing his successful execution of a precise bank robbery at a Wall Street bank. Astonishingly, he exits the front door undetected, leaving only the lingering question of how he accomplished such a feat. His team arrives at the Manhattan Trust Bank, with master painters playing a crucial role. Dalton takes the lead, entering the bank and disabling the security cameras. Their meticulously planned operation unfolds seamlessly, swiftly progressing from securing the door to compelling everyone in the bank to the ground. A vigilant police officer approaches upon seeing smoke emanating from the bank. Before he can report the situation, Dalton emerges, claiming hostages and threatening harm if the police intervene. The officer hastily calls for backup, prompting a swarm of NYPD officers to converge on the scene. Law enforcement assesses the situation, establishing a perimeter and ensuring the safety of the location. Simultaneously, the entire block is cordoned off, bringing normal activities to a standstill. Arthur Case, the owner of Manhattan Trust, receives the news of the hostage situation in one of his bank branches, instilling nervousness in him. In response, he urgently contacts a high-powered broker. Madeleine White is approached to devise a strategy to safeguard valuable family heirlooms secured within a safety deposit box at a specific branch. However, she imposes a crucial condition on the client. He must not disclose the box's contents unless necessary. Violating this pact of confidentiality would nullify their agreement. While Arthur Case, the client, refrains from outright deception, he opts for ambiguity, desiring Madeleine to ensure that the mysterious contents of the box remain securely locked away or vanish discreetly. Madeleine consents to collaborate with him, solidifying their newfound alliance. On the flip side of this intricate scenario are two prominent figures in the narrative: Detectives Fraser and Mitchell, part of the hostage negotiation team. Fraser, a seasoned cop, operates independently, too astute for conventional police work. So the detectives hasten to the bank, embarking on a journey inside a police van to confer with Captain Darius, the commanding officer at the scene. Captain Darius briefs them, emphasizing the uncertainties surrounding the number of suspects and hostages within the bank. Fraser informs Darius that he will cede control of the crime scene temporarily, expecting a comprehensive briefing once Darius garners more detailed information. Meanwhile, the robbers usher the hostages into the safe room, organizing them into two distinct groups: bank employees and others. Dalton directs the hostages to surrender their keys and phones, holding them aloft for his associate to collect. One bank employee claims to have left his cell phone at home, but Dalton, skeptical, discovers a phone with the man's number on speed dial and calls it, exposing the deception. In response, Dalton brutally beats the man as a stern warning to the others, leaving the room with blood splatters. Subsequently, Dalton compels another man to hand over his keys, while a boy voluntarily offers his video game console. After this, Dalton rearranges the hostages, segregating them by gender, and instructs everyone to undress down to their underwear. Everyone complies with Dalton's orders to undress, except for an elderly lady. In response, his female associate escorts her to another room, ensuring her compliance. Meanwhile, Dalton directs the remaining hostages to don the suits and masks. Later, an older hostage employed at the bank expresses feeling unwell, citing a heart condition. Dalton and one of his associates decide to release him. As the elderly man exits, the police swiftly apprehend him, and he relays a message he warns them to stay away from the bank, threatening to discard two corpses if they approach. The robbers check on the other hostages, traverse through the bank, passing by the safe and deposit boxes, and eventually halt in a back room stocked with office supplies. Afterward, they are observed preparing the room. Darius informs Fraser and Mitchell about the released hostage, sharing the man's claim that there are 4 perpetrators inside the bank. Darius briefs the detectives on his management of the perimeter, informing them that he awaits video footage from the bank's initial moments. Additionally, he mentions that all calls from the bank have been redirected to them, covering their end of the operation. Now, Fraser must make the crucial decision on how to proceed. Fraser deems it premature to contact the robber, opting to observe their actions first. Meanwhile, Mitchell locates the robber's van, intending to dust it for fingerprints, acknowledging the likelihood of it being stolen. When Frazier eventually calls the bank, Dalton allows the phone to ring unanswered. The police obtain security camera footage, revealing the robbers' skill in disabling them, speculating on the use of infrared lights. Unexpectedly, movement is detected in front of the bank. Concurrently, Madeleine approaches the New York City mayor, seeking a significant favor. She explains her role in monitoring the hostage situation for a client and requests access to work alongside the police. Although the mayor initially deems it impossible, Madeleine persists, and he eventually grants her request. The robbers release another hostage with a message strapped to him, a typical move in such situations, according to seasoned cops. They perceive the man as a Sikh, but mistake him for an Arab terrorist, disrespecting his religion by forcibly removing his turban. He is taken away roughly and later found at a diner, undergoing questioning by Frazier and others. The Sikh, rightfully angered, requires persuasion to disclose what he witnessed. He confirms details about the foreign perpetrators and estimates 20 to 30 hostages. Reading the demands sent with a hostage, the police learn that the robbers seek 2 buses and a jumbo jet by 9 p.m. Missing the deadline will result in hourly hostage casualties, and the bank is rigged with plastic explosives. Darius asserts the impossibility of obtaining a plane and considers the bus a possibility. Frazier emphasizes that cooperation is crucial for any concessions, even a cup of coffee. Suddenly, Case enters the van, offering assistance regarding the robbers' demands. When informed of the jet request, Case surprises the cops by offering to arrange one. Although he wishes to witness the situation's progression, he is escorted out later. The robbers demand food, providing an opportunity for the police to bug the bank and eavesdrop on their conversations. The officer handling tapping devices suggests using pizzas to encourage people to gather and converse. When Frazier inquires about a specialized listening device, she mentions a digital recorder capable of capturing 30 seconds of material. Meanwhile, a hostage attempts to portray toughness, prompting the robbers to assert their dominance by forcefully moving him across rooms with the other hostages. The ordered food finally arrives at the bank, and Frazier oversees the drop. He introduces himself to Dalton, attempting to establish a connection, and encourages Dalton to pick up the phone for a conversation. Dalton remains silent, leading the police to listen to the audio from inside the bank, realizing the conversation is in another language. They speculate it might be Russian, prompting Mitchell to inquire with the hostages about any Russian or Russian accents. Within the bank, the robbers manipulate the situation with the hostages, shifting individuals between rooms and creating a scenario where one robber pretends to be a hostage. Later, the actual female robber is seen digging a hole in the supply room. A cop of Russian heritage listens to the tape and identifies the language as Russian, though the closest match is Bulgarian, which he refers to as Central European. Frazier decides to play the recording over the speaker to seek help from the crowd outside in identifying the language. A construction worker, recognizing it as Albanian due to his ex-wife's origin, steps forward with this crucial information. The police attempt to contact the Albanian consulate but face obstacles. Frazier instructs the construction worker to call his ex-wife. Upon her arrival, she perceives their request as an opportunity to resolve her parking tickets. Frazier asks her to listen to the recording and disclose its contents. She laughs, not only recognizing the conversation, but also identifying the speaker. The cop eagerly anticipates, discovering the speaker's identity. But the woman repeats her request about the parking tickets before providing the information. She reveals it's the voice of the former communist president of Albania, Verhaksa. The police realize the robbers intentionally misled them with a random tape, altering the dynamics of the situation. Meanwhile, in scattered shots from the bank, Dalton is observed in the safe and around the money, raising doubts about their motive being solely financial. Later, he and an associate open a safety deposit box containing documents, diamonds, and small baggies in a jewelry box. Dalton takes the documents, and his associate closes the box. Simultaneously, the mayor arrives at the bank with Madeleine to engage in a conversation with Detective Frazier. He introduces them, and she promptly provides Frazier with a limited account of her purpose there. The detective hesitates to accept her alleged assistance, prompting Madeleine and the mayor to resort to old-fashioned blackmail to convince him. Later, Dalton finally answers the phone, engaging in a conversation with Frazier. that leads nowhere. Dalton repeats their demands, threatening to kill hostages if not met within the specified time frame. A subsequent conversation with Fraser yields the same results, as the detective, believing he is the one pressing the robber for more time, remains unaware that Dalton is stalling by playing games. Fraser offers Dalton more food, and sandwiches are requested. Meanwhile, the robbers complete digging the hole in the supplies room, a crucial element in completing the robbery. After Fraser's call with Dalton, Madeline is allowed to talk to him. She says something that convinces Dalton they should have a face-to-face conversation. Fraser escorts her to the bank, expressing concern she might make a wrong move. Madeline reassures him, stating she reached her position by collecting friends, not enemies. Upon reaching the bank, Madeline talks to Dalton, presenting an offer of a brief prison sentence and $2 million upon release in exchange for the contents of the safe deposit box. Dalton makes it clear he knows who Madeline is working for and that he is aware Case was a Nazi collaborator. During World War II, Case worked in Switzerland, and Madeline, upon asking, is shown the deposit box. Dalton informs her that he will keep it as a guarantee. If caught in the robbery, she and her boss will assist him in getting out of it. Exiting the bank, Madeline has an off-the-record conversation with Fraser, mentioning another offer she made to Dalton, which he is considering. Fraser inquires about Dalton's character, and Madeline describes him as intelligent and not a murderer. Later, the three cops discuss Dalton, attempting to decipher his motives. Fraser decides to change tactics, deviating from the rulebook, as he believes Dalton anticipates their every move. Calling Dalton, Fraser proposes giving him the jet if he allows him to check the hostages first. Dalton agrees, and the subsequent sequence shows Fraser entering the bank. Escorted to the hostage rooms, he confirms all hostages are alive and well, but Dalton denies him taking the boy along. Before leaving, Fraser assures the hostages he will take them all out. Confronting Dalton, Fraser discloses the tactical team waiting outside. However, the robber once again outsmarts him. As they approach the door, Fraser tackles him, attempting to remove his mask, but is thwarted by another accomplice. Dalton, infuriated, demands the buses again. Following this, Dalton visits the supply room, querying his associate about the remaining time. The reply estimates 2 to 3 more hours. Returning to the van, Fraser informs Darius that Dalton isn't a killer, advocating for a wait-and-see approach for his next move. Fraser instructs Darius to focus the cameras on the window. Soon after, Dalton appears on camera, holding a gun to a hostage and killing him. Consequently, Fraser is demoted, with Darius assuming control of the situation. Darius aims to get the tactical team inside promptly but faces a tactical nightmare with challenging out. To mitigate risks, the only solution is deploying rubber bullets to avoid casualties. Mitchell expresses concern that Fraser may become the scapegoat if things go awry again. However, Fraser assures him of a deal with Madeline, securing his promotion to detective first-rate. Suddenly, just before Darius storms the bank, Fraser uncovers that the robbers have been eavesdropping on them through a transmitter in the drawer. He notifies the captain, but Darius proceeds. When Dalton learns of this, he deploys smoke grenades, evacuating the hostages before the police intervention. Once outside, the tactical team swiftly apprehends everyone. Subsequently, they enter the bank to clear it, examining each room, the safe, and the supply room, finding nothing. Fraser, Mitchell, and Darius are updated, learning that no hostage bodies were discovered and nothing was stolen. The cops realize the weapons were toys, and the hostage killing was a staged event. Meanwhile, hostages and robbers are taken to a police station for questioning. With identities unknown, the case seemingly dissolves, surprising Fraser. However, he remains persistent. Later, Fraser discovers a clue about the secret safe deposit box and starts connecting the pieces. Meeting with Madeline again, he shares a recording of her and the mayor blackmailing him. In exchange for not exposing the recording, he seeks information about Case's. Madeline hints at it but advises him to drop it. Later, she informs Case that Fraser won't be a threat, but Dalton will retain the document from the box as insurance against retaliation. Additionally, she learns about diamonds in a Cartier ring in the safe, once owned by Case's Jewish friends whom he couldn't save from the Nazis. They compensated her handsomely. He settles the payment before her departure, and she feigns non-judgment. A week after the heist, Dalton finally discloses his heist methodology. Concealed within the bank behind a trick wall constructed in the supply room, he possesses the diamonds, ring, and document. Dalton breaches the trick wall, emerging from his concealed spot, casually strolling through the bank like any other client. His collaborators await him outside while Fraser and Mitchell arrive. Dalton accidentally bumps into Fraser while exiting, but Fraser doesn't recognize him. With a court order, Fraser enters the bank to open the deposit box. To his surprise, he finds chewing gum, the Cartier ring, and a note instructing him to follow. The detectives question Case about the box, sensing a connection to something nefarious. Despite Case's evasion, Fraser reveals the ring, confident that it holds clues to unsavory matters. Leaving, they share a laugh, knowing they have Case exactly where they want him. Later, Fraser interrupts Madeleine's and then the mayor's lunch, revealing the ring and providing her the number for the War Crimes Issues office in Washington, D.C. She agrees to call, receiving the pen with their incriminating recording, successfully bringing down a Nazi, a powerful broker, and an indifferent mayor. Having completed the first raid, Fraser's only remaining task is to return home and embrace his wife. In the film's closing, we witness the ring left in Dalton's pocket when he unknowingly collides with Fraser in the bank. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.